welcome to Alien Spirit. I'm Sev. My guest is Dr. Michael Napolitano. He is an osteopathic medical doctor focusing on mental health and overall wellness through nutrition, lifestyle, and energy work using Western and Eastern medical practices. He received his medical degree from Western University of Health Sciences in Pomona, California, and his practice is in Westlake Village, California. After medical school, Dr. Napolitano attended a psychiatry residency at East Tennessee State University. And through his residency, he realized that there is more to medicine than the typical Western model. So, Dr. Napolitano created a hybrid style that focuses on the mind, body, and spirit. He has been published in the Frontiers Journal of Microbiology for systematic review of diabetes and obesity. Dr. Napolitano facilitates physician-guided ketamine journeys. He believes that psychedelic exploration is beneficial in healing the mind, body, and soul. He's also an ET contactee since childhood, and his contact experiences and the messages that the ETs have given him have shaped his medical practice. This is also the first time Dr. Napolitano is coming out about his ET contact. Welcome, Dr. Michael Napolitano.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to share my story and hopefully inspire other people to feel safe to do the same.
That's beautiful. And we really need that right now that there is a much more focus on experiencers more than ever. And to have you come out is a big deal. And it really makes my heart glow. And I'm very appreciative. Let's begin with how we met.
Very unconventional, but synchronistic, I think. Yeah, so I was chosen to volunteer the Contact in the Desert conference I guess it was last week or 2 weeks ago. And I wasn't planning on even going to the conference, but got a last minute request. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll go. I mean, I've always wanted to go and figured it was a great opportunity to see a lot of people and be around a lot of like-minded individuals because a lot of people in my life aren't as open about this kind of stuff as I am. So it was really nice for me. And I was working in one of the rooms, and just so happened that Sev was substituted in last minute for one of the speakers and held a ET contactee talk. And I was moderating her room and just felt like I needed to come up and speak with her afterwards and tell her how much it meant to me, but also the profound effect it had on the people in this session and the other contactees. Told her my story a little bit, and we just kind of hit it off, and here I am now.
Yes. That, to have you come up and tell me your story, uh, I can't even put into words. It's like I get a buzzy feeling, like I start to buzz all over because I'm so happy. And you told me quite a bit in just a couple minutes that we had. And so I'm eager to go into detail about your experiences. So would you like to start from when you were a child?
Yeah, so it's interesting because I don't remember much. I think so to put it into perspective, I had some memories of just having imaginary friends throughout my life. Well, yeah, up when I was in childhood, but I didn't really remember the details of it until I was regressed. And we can get into that a little later, but basically I've been having contact since I was probably 4 years old, but from my regression, it was before I was even born. I was contacted by a being, a, from my understanding, a Pleiadian light being who is about 7 foot tall, and she was referred to as the mother, and she had been with me and my family, my mother's side, since forever, and kind of watches over us and is basically making sure that we're on our path and keeping us in the same direction and knowing and supporting us through different struggles that we go through throughout our life. Now, I've always felt like someone was watching over me, like a guardian angel, but I never really put two and two together. I was raised Catholic, so I kind of always thought it was just an angel. My mom always told me it was an angel, but I don't think she knew quite what it was. But she had been visiting me since I was little and would play with me, and we would just play dinosaurs. We would play everything. I mean, it was just like I was playing with this imaginary being, not knowing who they were. So it started probably around, from my understanding, about four.
Okay, let's look at a picture that you drew of this lady. Now, when you say she was playing dinosaurs with you, she appeared to you in 3D?
So she didn't appear, I think she did. It wasn't fully in this dimension. I mean, it's hard to tell because I'm
Yeah.
going based off of a memory, but it was more of like a blur. Like she would be there and she would be talking to me in my mind, but she wouldn't be physically interacting with me all the time. It was sometimes she would tell me certain things and kind of guide me. It was really interesting. Um, Back then because it's just a lot of broken memories. Like I would have a memory of playing with somebody, but not necessarily visual. Like I don't remember her standing there and all this stuff, all this
You
kind of
remember more the feelings.
yeah.
Okay. There's Michael when this started. So adorable. So you told your mom. How old were you when you first told your mom?
Um, Probably three or four.
Oh,
Yeah. I think she noticed too because she would always comment and say things and you know, I I would I would have like stuffed animals or toys or stuff, and I would have names for all of them, and then I would have a name for my other friend, and she would always just kind of go along with it, and but I think she knew um, way back then. She used to tell me all the time. She's like, "You're really special. Like you have these gifts and all these things, but when you're
well, that's
little,
wonderful that she didn't scare you about
no,
it at all.
no." She
Oh,
was really loving about it.
because she was being visited as well.
Yeah. I mean, she thought they were angels and she sees them as angels. I think and that's kind of what I believe too, just in this whole idea of spirituality and everything. We have all these filters that we see things. So like extraterrestrials, angels, I mean, I think they are subtly different entities, but I think we also see what our mind is primed to interpret. So like an ET for somebody else who's really Catholic or something, they might see it as an angel, even though it could be something else. However, I do think there are angels and ETs separately, like in reality, but I think we do have a strong influence on the way that we interpret some of these encounters.
I agree with you. And actually, there are theories. I just gave a lecture about Jacques Vallée's theory
Hmm.
about our perception based on our belief system and how that can color what you see. So, as the 3, 4-year-old, you're seeing this being right here.
Hmm. So the first time I visually saw her that I can remember through my regression was probably, I mean, during the regression, I saw her standing over my bed when I was sleeping. And I remember my room. I remember my mom had painted a dinosaur on the wall, and I remember seeing the covers and everything was there. And she was standing over my bed and kind of just like petting my head and just telling me how much I meant to her and that I was going to do great things in this world. And she was they were so proud of me. And my understanding is she is one of three beings that are kind of my guides in this. And I can later on, I have an experience with all three of them there, but she came to me like this, and she was like I said, she was about 7 foot tall, very slim arms, like almost bone, like bone thin. She had three fingers on each hand, and they were very long. She had a round shape, upside down almond, big almond eyes. They were dark blue. with little sparkles. It was almost like if you ever look at the ocean and you see the sun sparkling on the ocean, that's what her eyes look like.
Ah.
That kind of glimmering type of filter. And then she had a really, really small mouth, but she didn't speak with it. She spoke telepathically. And then she was wearing a long white gown, and it looked see-through, but it wasn't see-through. It was just like a big white gown and there was a little logo on the right chest. It was an upside down boomerang logo. It didn't have any writing. Um, and then she just had everything was very skinny. Um, no hair, no ears that I could see at least.
And the color of her skin?
It was a very light blue.
Light blue. Does she have a nose?
Not that I could see.
Okay. So her eyes were blue.
Yeah, they were like
And
dark blue.
grays are typically their eyes are more horizontal, and hers look like they're more
Yeah, they were
vertical.
vertical. They were maybe not that deep down her face, but they were more vertical than horizontal for sure.
Okay. And the hands, did they look robotic like that or?
No, no, they I'm just really bad at drawing. They were just like a normal hand, but they were very skinny and there was three fingers and each finger was probably 6 inches long, I would say.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
but they were like normal hands.
And was she wearing this every time you met?
Yeah, every time I saw her,
How many times do you think that was?
I saw her that I can remember in when I was young, probably I mean, there were three separate times just throughout my life. It was always when I was sleeping. I would be sleeping and she would just come and just like watch me sleep or
Mm-hmm.
work on me or do whatever. And then there was one time before I was born, I was just like, I wasn't even a physical form because of the person when I got regressed the POV that I saw was I was myself. It wasn't like third person seeing the whole event. It was me, and I looked up and I had thought this memory was of my mom holding me, but it wasn't. It was her.
Oh.
And it happened before we were like on a ship and we were like looking out this it was a huge window and she was just holding me and telling me how proud she was of me and that I had apparently been chosen to go into this incarnation. I wasn't supposed to incarnate anymore, but she told me that I had a purpose to serve humanity and they needed my energy to help or my not necessarily my energy, my they needed me to help move this earth into the next phase of existence, the 5D, because of this shift they needed me. And I had chosen to do that because I wanted to help. So,
Okay. So this realization came to you when you were regressed
yeah.
by Yvonne.
Well, that event did. I had this realization before that.
Oh, I'd like to
Yeah.
talk about that. When
Yeah.
did you have that realization, and is that what prompted you to become a doctor?
No, this actually happened 3 years ago, and this is my first time I remember having actual contact that wasn't during the regression. This was like real life contact. I had just moved back from Tennessee and I had gone through a dark night of the soul. I had basically left residency, given up my whole life, essentially. I'd just gotten out of a really long relationship and I was basically just uprooting my life. I just knew that I was really in a bad place and I needed to either change everything or, I wasn't able to do that anymore. So I left, I came back here and I started my own practice with another doctor, kind of working under him as a mentor just to kind of build my patience. And I got interested in ketamine therapy and I knew that it was really good for mental health and depression and all this. So I was like, I'm interested in offering it to my patients, but I think I need it myself. Like I need to go through this myself first I never hadn't done any psychedelics or anything prior to that besides just like cannabis. And so I did a ketamine session with a now really good friend out here, a therapist who holds space for ketamine, psilocybin, all these different modalities. And I had an experience where a full ego death and left my body, and I was just floating. And then all of a sudden, three light beings came down, and they were shaped at this time. They were large, upside down triangles, bright yellow with little like I'm gonna say swirls around them, like basically just abstract shapes, but they were just pure light. And they had told me, that's when they had told me, you have such a higher purpose here. We're so proud of you for taking all this opportunity to change the world, and you are here to change the world. You have such a different purpose than you think. And basically, that's when they said, is that your reason for being here is to help people wake up and see that there's so much more to life than what they're being told, and that how much power they have within themselves to heal themselves, that miracles and all this happen, that this is real. And you're basically here to shift Western medicine, the view of typical Western medicine, incorporate all these other forms of healing and bring them all together, bridge the gap between what is currently the healthcare model and what this new age of healing and spirituality and energy medicine and all this, what all that is, and bring them together. And before this, I had never meditated. I had never done, I mean, I was very not into all this stuff. I mean, I've been into ETs my whole life. Like I watched Ancient Aliens. My dad was an astronomer part-time, so he really enjoyed all that. But I was never really like going out researching this. Like I wasn't super into this space. I have this profound experience. I come back into my body and everything, and I'm just like completely just turned upside down. And I wasn't depressed anymore. I wasn't anxious. Like everything just kind of dissolved because I realized my purpose. Because I always felt not normal. I felt like I didn't belong anywhere. I felt like people never understood me. Medical school, all these things were like just, I mean, it was so easy for me. And I never understood it. I never understood why it was easy for me. I never understood how I could.
Medical school was easy for you?
I have a photographic memory, so I would
Uh-huh.
just memorize everything like really quickly, and just I would set the curve on all the tests. I was number one in my class. I was like, and I wouldn't try that. It was like weird. Like I wasn't. It was almost like someone was giving me all the answers. And now I have my own idea of what might have been going on, but um, yeah. So like I've had all these weird things throughout my life, but I never
Can we
felt
talk
like.
a little bit? I'm sorry.
No,
Can we talk
I
a
just
little
never
bit
felt like
about,
people understood me. Yeah.
yes, and that's a common theme with a lot of experiencers, actually. I'd like to talk a little bit about ketamine, exactly what it is,
Yeah.
and what part of the brain does it activate, and how do you see a correlation with the ketamine experience in ET Contact?
Yeah. So basically, ketamine is a dissociative. So what it does from a medical perspective, it works on glutamate, which is huge in memory formation and remembering things. So basically, from a scientific perspective, it allows you to bring up like past memories and everything and reprogram them, so your brain becomes malleable in a way that it can rewire the neural pathways so certain things don't cause the same emotional response. So that's why we use it in PTSD. So patients or people who have severe trauma will go have a ketamine session, and they will undo some of the trauma and rewire their brain, their nervous system in a way that the trauma doesn't affect them to the same degree as it does currently. So
Mm.
that's how people can cure like depression, all this stuff, because it doesn't, you start to realize you don't need to hold on to that anymore. So it's basically a deep form of meditation. You get to the dissociative space, your astral body leaves your physical, and it allows your ego, the part of your human brain that is analyzing everything, critical and is overthinking, it turns it off. So all that's left is your soul, your higher self. So it's like getting therapy from your higher self in a way. But in
Oh,
a physical perspective, you're just in a super deep meditative state and you're kind of floating in out of your body. So you just leave your body, but you can do all this higher work. So with the ET contact, it just it takes the filters off, so it allows you to be open to it, and it raises your frequency. So it will raise your frequency to a place where you can meet them, because it's all about this, the contact. The problem why people don't see ETs regularly or extra dimensional beings, our frequency, there's such a big discrepancy, we can't see them. So when you're under, psilocybin, ketamine, ayahuasca, all these medicines, it brings your frequency up to a place where they can meet you halfway. So you're basically allowing yourself to be more open to different types of experiences that maybe you weren't capable of reaching during a normal conscious state. So, and that's why people can get that way through meditation. Like I'm to the point now where I don't even need ketamine. I can get to that same place just through a deep meditation. So it's just allowing yourself, and what I tell patients is these medicines are just tools to unlock the key, or are keys to unlock the door to allow yourself to reach these areas. But once you understand how to get there and you've been in that frequency, you don't need them anymore. They're just a
yes,
guide. They're teachers, you
that's a
know.
good point because some people do rely on that.
Absolutely. People feel like they don't have the ability to, but we have the ability to do all these incredible things. We don't need the teachers, but it's like you go and take the class, but once you take the class, you don't need to take it anymore because you passed. You have the knowledge that you got from that, and now you can apply it in your life and you can just meditate. And so ketamine basically taught me how to get into that state of surrender, that state um of acceptance and stillness, because we don't practice that enough
Mm-hmm.
in today's world. And once everything's still, that's when you can start to hear. That's when you can
Yes.
connect.
Mm-hmm.
And I notice with my, as I practice now with meditation and the ketamine and I've done, psilocybin, other things, it it allows you to understand why you're having contact and why you're not. And I think the more times where I'm more stressed in my head, I block myself from contact. But then when I'm relaxed and not in fear, the beings that I interact with are more open to connecting with me.
Oh,
So it's
okay. So
very
that takes
interesting.
us back to the experience you had where I think it was a gray that
Hmm.
asked you if you wanted to be abducted. I think
Yeah.
this is really interesting. Tell us
Yeah.
about that.
This is interesting. So I was doing this was during a psilocybin journey actually, and I was just laying in my bed. I was just trying to relax. I was just relaxing. It was one of my first times doing it, so I didn't know what to expect. And all of a sudden, I felt a ringing in the back of my head, like a buzzing, and all of a sudden, it was like a download of information, and I just like knew. I'm like, the Grays are here. They asking me if I wanted to experience an abduction. They weren't going to hurt me, but they knew that I was curious about contact and that if I wanted to just see what it was like. And I freaked out because I had never had such a tactile physical interaction. Like I never spoke with the Grays before. So this was like different because and I'll get into this later, but each race that I've interacted with has a different tell. So like a different frequency. So like with the Grays, it was the buzzing. I felt very uncomfortable. I felt a little nauseous. It's almost like tinnitus, like a ringing in your ear kind of thing. And then it was like I was terrified. So I said no. I kind of panicked and I asked my guides to protect me. I said, just make them go away. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And I felt safe. And then I kind of just went on. I finished the experience and that was it. But then I get regressed and I go back to that memory it was actually pretty traumatic at the time. And this was probably a little over a year ago that this happened. And
Mm.
during the regression, it turns out I said yes, but they had implanted a false memory to protect me because I was so shook up from it that they didn't want me to freak out thinking I had this whole thing. So, and I do believe that a lot of these beings, the benevolent ones, don't want to freak us out. And that's why we're drip fed a lot of this slowly. And that's what my guides have told the lady. She's told me that multiple times. There's like, you're not ready for this yet. You know, we're going to do it slowly. But I have this regression, and basically, I was brought up on the ship like instantaneously. I saw my body lift out of the bed, and it was like the best way to put it was like you're a puppet and they're pulling you by a string and you're just like dangling. And I just went through my ceiling, and then I kind of like blinked and I was like on a ship. It was all gray, dark. There was no like color or any, it was just like steel looking type of dark gray, everything. And I was sitting in this really uncomfortable chair that was just like gray. It was all form fitting. There wasn't like legs or anything. It was just like there. I was staring at this window, and there were two grays, probably about 4 foot tall, looking at each other, and they were communicating, but I couldn't hear what they were saying. They were telepathically talking to each other and just kind of like, from what I saw, they were just kind of interacting, and it felt like I was just there observing. Like I was like, it was like take your kid to work day, and I was just sitting there watching them work, but I wasn't involved in whatever they were doing. They were just doing their thing, and I was just watching. And and then they turn to me and they start walking over to me, and then it goes black, and I wasn't allowed to see anything else. So I
Hmm.
don't know what happened after that, but the,
That's your
the
only interaction with the Grays?
that's the only interaction that I can consciously remember right now. But I
Hmm.
have had multiple times. I've had a couple lucid dreams where I woke up with full body paralysis, and there was a being in the corner of my room. And there was one, I do remember one other experience with a gray that I had a lucid dream. I came out, I realized I was dreaming. I don't remember what the dream was, but I came back into my body. I was fully paralyzed. I was like laying in bed. It was next to my bedside table. A 4 foot tall gray was just standing over me with his hands like this. There were three fingers over me like this. And he just looked at me, and at first I got really scared, and then immediately felt like safe. Like it was just like that. It was like he put a spell on me or something. It was like, and I think they can do that. They can soothe, make you feel not freaked out. So he knew that I was like scared. And he's like, "You're safe. I'm just upgrading you." And then I blink, and he was gone. And then I slowly got my paralysis like went away. And that was,
Upgrading. So you were getting an upgrading.
yeah,
Now, do you have an implant?
I do. At least I
Where?
think I do. So I woke up one day, and and it's always at night. I always wake up at night with these things. I had this weird, like a cyst or a tick on my leg. It was my left thigh. And I'm like, this is weird. Like it felt like a little BB, like a little BB from a BB gun underneath my skin. And I'm like, this is really bizarre. So I got a scalpel because I had one lying around, of course, and I tried to cut it out. So I try to cut it out, it moves down my leg. And I go to cut it out again, it moves up and it moves. And every time I try to cut it, it kept moving. And I was like, and I know this to Whitley Strieber and the whole thing. And so I'm like, this isn't this isn't a tick. Because I've gotten them out before. Like I'm like, this is interesting. And then yeah, so I kind of just let it be. I'm like, okay, well, and then I meditated on it then later that day, and I'm like asking my guy, I'm like, what is this? Is this an implant? And they said basically it's something that helps ground me and keeps my frequency balanced throughout the day. So it's like because there's certain things like when we're exposed to different things in life, it's like it can affect our frequency. And I guess there was a lot of things that were messing up my frequency and keeping me from being grounded. So it helps. anchor me. I mean, that's kind of what they explained to me, so I'm not sure what that means, but it's not hurting me. It doesn't hurt. I still have the scar, but I think it went deeper in my leg because I can't feel it underneath my skin anymore. But
You still have the scar
no,
from when you scalpeled yourself to get it
yeah, and
out?
this was about 7 or 8 months ago. So I still have a
That's
scar
too
there, and it's a
bad.
little, yeah.
Why do you think it's in your leg?
That I don't know. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, the grounding thing, I guess that kind of makes sense, but I
Okay.
never really asked. I
Hmm.
figured like, oh, it was convenient for them, but
Yeah. I've always wondered why people want their implants out because to me, I always thought that the implants were beneficial.
yeah, that's what I
And
figured.
yeah, and to take it out, I always thought they should be the ones taking it out, not us. Like they're the ones that put it in, and they know that when it should be out of our bodies. So it's interesting that it kept moving and moving, and now it's deeper and deeper. Do you ever feel it vibrate?
I don't. I don't feel it
Okay.
vibrate, but I do think, you know, people talk about trackers and stuff.
Uh-huh.
If they wanted to track us, they didn't need to implant anything. They know where we are whenever. They're so far beyond that. They just know.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I don't buy into that theory as
I
much.
don't buy into that too.
Yeah.
That's just too logical and just old thinking.
Yeah.
Now, if we can go back to the lady, does she visit you today?
She does. I'm interacting with her a lot more now, and I talk to her. She's like my main guide. Like spirit guides, we have different types of guides for different things. She is my main guide, and she's the one whenever I feel scared or stressed about or worried about something, she's like just it's like a blanket. Her energy is just like a blanket of love and safety. And she doesn't I don't see her in the physical as much. She's more telepathic, like she's just with
Mm-hmm.
me a lot
Mm-hmm.
more. But it's just like she keeps me on the right path. She's like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Like even with this interview, like last night I was really just in my head about it. I'm like worried because I mean I've never talked about this ever.
Mm,
And I just,
thank you.
I woke up and I felt a sense of relief like, no, I have to do this. Like this is my path. This is who I'm supposed to be. And I'm going to help more people by doing this than not. And I knew that was her kind of guiding me because she's always there. And I
Yes.
feel her energy and the different type, like we were talking about, the different tells, like with her, it's like a warmth in my heart. And I know the Pleiadians do a lot with heart balance and focusing on heart chakra. So
She's
I've always known it's
Palladian.
her. Yeah. From what she's told me. Yeah.
Hmm. Is she related to the Grays?
Not that I know of. Apparently they're like she's interacted with them. Like when I had that experience, I did call on her and she was there to kind of explain what they were doing. Like she's kind of like it's almost like a translator. Like I'm like, hey, can you or like my liaison. Like she'll kind of give me guidance on different interactions I have. So, because she's also, like I said, she's my guide, so she's always with me. I can talk to her pretty much whenever. Um, I don't think she's doing much, but she does kind of give me a little. She's kind of like educates me on this whole thing because I do open myself up to contact. I want contact. I want to be more involved because I think it's fascinating, and I'm drawn to it for some reason. And I think the more I understand it, the more I can help other people understand. So
Hmm.
it's almost like I'm learning for myself, but I'm also learning for other people.
Now, your mother and your grandmother, your mom's mom.
Hmm.
So this comes through her lineage, this ET
And my great
contact.
grandma. Yeah.
And you've talked to your mother about it. Have you talked to your or did you have the opportunity to talk to your grandmother?
No, but I knew that my grandma saw things. She called them spirits or ghosts. But so she's been seeing things since she was a little girl. My mom has seen things since she was little. She calls them angels. Obviously, I've had my experiences, and then my great grandma too, apparently. my mom said that she also had these types of things, which was really
Did you
interesting.
tell your mother that you think they're ETs and not necessarily angels?
Yeah, and she's
How
open
did
to it. My
she's
mom's
open?
really open to it too. She's really supportive of me in all of this.
Wonderful.
And I think she understands because she's like, yeah, you've been talking to these beings for a long time,
Has
which is
she
kind of
shared any of her ET contact with you?
oh yeah. She gets She doesn't say that's ET. She says they're angels,
Okay.
like guardian angels. She's like, oh yeah, my angel came to me. He was like huge 7 foot with big wings and all this stuff. And I've interacted with angels before. Like I've had Archangel Michael come through a few times during meditation and stuff. So I do know that she is pretty accurate what she was saying, at least the way that I interpreted it too. But I think it's just like I said, with different experiences, and I think she also has she's on a different path. She has different guides. She has a different mission. So I think it's just like that. But it's really interesting because out of our whole lineage, me, my mom, my grandma, my great grandma are the only ones in our entire family with blue eyes, the four of us, which is kind of
Oh.
trippy. I don't know if that means anything, but
Okay, that's
I thought that was
interesting.
very interesting.
Did have your beings given you any information about the hybridization program?
Not really. I've never really asked. I
Okay.
think they've done, I've never asked if I was a hybrid. They have told me once, this was God, probably 2 or 3 months ago. I was in a meditation and all of a sudden, I was on a ship and I had three, or actually, it was like four little children run up and hug me. And I was like,
Uh-oh.
what is this? I'm like, what is this? And they were
Here
beautiful,
we
beautiful
go.
children, but they were like definitely not human. And they all had blue eyes,
Yeah.
probably ages 3 to 7, if that means any. I mean, from what I could tell, and didn't know who the mother was. But they said, yeah, these are your children. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I've never felt such love in my life from them. I mean, I
Mm,
personally, like as a human, all I want is to be a father. Like that's like my biggest dream is to have children and be a father. So to
mm,
have that experience, and that's only happened once. I've never talked to the children. I've never done anything other than that one experience. But that was really powerful and unconditional love to the nth degree. It was like incredible. But I've never really asked about the hybrid program or anything.
okay.
Just
So
I've
you
also
think
we
you
had
might be
real
a hybrid?
contact for a couple years. I'm pretty new into all this, so this is all, you know,
You're new.
I'm new.
Why do you think you were afraid of the Greys but not afraid of the others?
I think it's a frequency thing. I think the grays that felt very robotic. It felt very
Yeah.
artificial and
Mm-hmm.
calculated. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I knew that they weren't going to hurt me, but it was like, I mean, in psychiatry, we have a term called affect, which is like the demeanor you hold, right? So they had a flat affect. There was no emotion. It was just like dark, cold, robotic. But the Pleiadians, um, so loving. It was like they didn't show emotion, but I could feel their emotion. It was intense love, like beyond anything that I could even comprehend. So that's probably why I think the grays can artificially make me feel protected and safe, but the Pleiadians were, or the ones that I know there's billions of races probably in the Pleiades, but the ones that I interact with, it's just that's kind of their front. They're not cold and then become that. It's like real, it's authentic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
The
that's
Palladians are the ones with the upside down triangle on their chest.
hmm
I was in a regression and I saw a group of beings and they also had an upside down triangle on their chest.
interesting. Yeah, it was like red. Yeah, I didn't know what it was. I didn't really read it. It looked like she was part of something, some
What do you think
organization.
that boomerang? Have you seen that boomerang before? That was
No,
in the
I mean, I
movie.
Googled it and there was like different programs and stuff, so I'm not sure,
Did
but
it kind of look like the Star Trek symbol?
yeah, exactly.
Oh, it did.
It did. I knew it wasn't Star Trek, but
Yeah.
that's the kind of vibe I got.
What made you come out?
I really don't know, to be honest. I think going to contact in the desert was one of the best weekends of my life because it was the first
Hmm.
time I went by myself and I wasn't like I said before, I didn't feel like I had to hide anything. And I feel like in my life right now, like just in the past few years, it's like I felt like I've always had to hide a part of myself because people wouldn't understand. And when I was there, I felt like everybody understood. And hearing people talk about their experiences and all these incredibly well-known people and credible people talking about these things openly was like, I'm like, I have all these experiences that I haven't told anybody about besides my mom. She's the only person I've ever told. And it just kind of inspired me. And then I had this whole thing. I'm like, I'm in the process of building my business and starting to shift and doing all these things with energy work and all this. And I realized I must have been a download or something, but this realization that I could by me coming out, I'm opening a safe place for other contactees and people who just don't feel like they're seen or they're safe or they're being judged. A safe place to go and get healthcare, to get, I mean, I do therapy, to do energy work, to do ketamine therapy, whatever it is that they need. It's a safe place because I'm open to anything. I mean, if people came in with implants, I'd be able to talk to them about it and show them mine. I'd be able to, and that's a sense of comfort that I think people, just as human beings, need. And I think as a doctor, that's the one thing about the typical model that I did never believed in is why do I have to be a robot? Why do I have to give up my humanity and treat people not like humans? I want to be able to be open and talk about everything that I can talk about because it makes them feel safe. It makes them feel open. Um, and they trust me, and trust is everything. So that's kind of what inspired me. And I just realized I could help a lot more people that way.
Yes, after Dr. Lear's passing, I really don't know who's involved in implants. And most experiencers would not go to their doctor and say that they have an implant. So to have someone like you on the scene that will provide comfort and understanding and non-judgmental, which is really the most important thing we're looking for when we share our stories, is not to be judged. So to have you there in California is fantastic.
And
Uh,
it was funny, Doc. He was in the hospital down the street from me. He actually worked.
what?
Yeah. I didn't realize when I was, I've researched him in the past because I was curious about, like the inform like how I was just when I was going down that rabbit hole, I realized he worked out of the local hospital in my town in Thousand Oaks. I won't name the hospital, but it was, yeah, very interesting of all places. So,
There's a connection there.
it's kind of interesting.
And also, I just want everyone to know that you had your regression with Yvonne, and
Yvonne Smith, and yeah,
yes,
it was
who's
wonderful.
also in California. Okay.
Yeah,
What messages or information or knowing that the ETs imparted on you have shaped your medical practice?
everything. I mean, after the more contact I have with them, the more I talk to them, because I get lost in it. I get very scared to do this, the to shift because it's like we're trained a certain way as doctors, and basically I'm doing the opposite. I'm going in such a different direction, but they keep reaffirming me. It will work out because it's what you're meant to do. we are going to provide you whatever we need to. The universe will provide you whatever you need to be able to help the people you're going to help. So don't worry about how it's going to look. Don't worry about the backlash. Don't worry about if this fails or this person leaves or whatever happens in your life regarding this business because it's going to work out the way it needs to. Just do what feels right. Trust your intuition. Trust that the message and the person that you are going to be for these people outweighs whatever stigma and whatever social construct you have in your head for what a practice should be because you're not building the same practice. You're creating a new path for other people to follow in your footsteps. You're creating a whole new area of medicine that is desperately needed right now.
Yes.
Um, so I mean, I definitely go back and forth on it because it's scary, but like I just have to trust them and know that this is why I'm here. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
So you're not too caught up in any backlash or negative talk
Yeah.
or losing patience.
I mean, I lose patience all the time. And I think it comes down to if they don't resonate, if they're not ready to accept that, that's okay. Because I would rather lose patience than compromise who I am and not live in my authenticity. And that was a hard lesson because I got very in my head about it. And I would get very stressed out about losing money, losing patience, losing business. I'm like, is this a mistake? Like, should I just bite the bullet, you know, work like a regular doctor just to make money? And I'm like, what's the point? What's the point of money if you're not happy, if you're not living in your truth? Because then you become miserable. And that's what I was living in my past life in residency. It was like I was, treating severe mental health and all these drugs and stuff. And it was soul crushing. So I had to accept that it's going to be worth it because I'm allowing myself to be who I am. And whoever aligns with that will be with me. And whoever doesn't, they're just not ready for that. Or it's a different permission slip for them. It's something they need Western medicine and that's great. And I support that. There is a place for that. And I still do Western medicine.
Yes.
I do all of it.
Hmm.
So when people come to me, I gauge where they are in the spectrum. One person I can talk to about balancing heart chakra, another person I'm putting them on blood pressure medicine. It's okay, it's just who are you coming in for,
That's
you
interesting.
know?
Yeah, tell us
But
about your practice and what you do.
yeah, so right now I just moved into a bigger space. And my mom actually works the front desk, so it's a family business,
Ah,
and I love that.
yeah.
And I do primary care, but it's a functional medicine approach. So trying to focus on lifestyle modification, like through nutrition, supplementation, natural, holistic type of parameters, but also doing the Western medicine. So doing, blood pressure, all the regular stuff. But focusing more on a holistic preventative model versus the wait till you're sick, then we'll treat you kind of model. So that's kind of like the backbone of my business. And then I have the ketamine therapy. So I'll do guided ketamine journeys with patients where I'm basically, they're in their session. I do the integration with them. So I'm with them the entire time and we work through whatever it is that comes through during their session and talk
Oh.
through it and on all this stuff. Um, and
Is it
then
a private session or in a group?
it's a private session. I'm also thinking about doing group sessions. I just haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
Um, Now that I have a bigger space, I'm able to do that. And I can also bring in other facilitators to help with that as well.
And would you consider other modalities other than ketamine?
I am. I've actually I'm exploring different ones as we speak.
Like
I'm working
what?
with different
What do you
different practitioners. As things become more legalized, like microdosing, psilocybin, and MDMA, I would love to
Yes.
get into that space as well. And there's some other different, retreats and stuff that I'm in the process of organizing with another colleague out in Puerto Rico. So we're thinking about doing deeper plant medicine journeys and holding retreats a couple times a year in California and in Puerto Rico. So that's in the works as well. Um, and then the other side of my business is energy work. And I do a lot of energy work with patients, both medical patients will come to me with energy work, and then the ketamine and stuff, I kind of incorporate it everywhere. So that's kind of where my business is shifting, is incorporating energy work into all this because they all balance each other out and they all support each other. It's the mind through the ketamine and the psychedelic and the therapy. I do regular therapy as well through that model. And then you have the physical medicine through the functional medicine and the regular Western practice and all that. And then you have the energy body and the spirit medicine. So it's like combining all three modalities to heal because you can't, the mind influences the energy body, which then influences the physical body and creates disease. So if you work on one, you're essentially it's not gonna fully heal. So you work at the root cause through the mind and the undoing the neural connections that are bringing those negative thought patterns. And then on top of that, I'm moving the energy and clearing out the old blocked paths and whatever energy clearing that needs to be done. And then we're supporting the physical body with the nutrients, the supplementation that it needs in order to heal properly. So really, it's a
Wow,
full spectrum,
it's
you know.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, I would encourage everybody to come visit you. Now, what would you say are the main messages the ETs have given you to share with the world?
That the main thing that is at the base of everything in this existence, because I've asked him multiple times, like, what is the meaning of life? Like, why are we here? What's the point of all this?
Mm,
It's love. We were put here to love one another. We were put here to experience. And they told me, we chose to come here to experience life as a human being. We didn't come here to hide and float away. I mean, it's nice to have that spiritual connection, but we came here to live as humans. So take that spiritual connection and use it to give yourself permission to live your life. Because people get caught up in the real world or the real world and they say, they're just miserable all the time because they don't allow themselves to do what excites them, to be curious, to be like a child. When you're born, we're put on this planet, just everything's amazing. All we care about is eating, drinking, being loved, and having fun. So why not do that throughout our life? That's the whole point of being here. We're not put here to be miserable. We're here to learn lessons. But the crux of existence, from what they've told me, is to experience, is to be curious, is to have fun and love each other and not get caught up in the nuts and bolts of it because that doesn't matter. It's like a movie. Just enjoy the movie. Don't overthink it.
Speaking of movies, as we talk, Spielberg's Disclosure Day is going to have its US premiere in just a few days. You're going to go see it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Already
Okay.
got my ticket. Yeah.
What's your hunch or your gut feeling on what that movie's going to do as far as moving the needle?
I think it was strategically planned to get people comfortable with the idea. And I have a feeling more things are going to be released in the next month, if not the next couple weeks. I think this is like a
From the
purposeful, it's almost
government?
like, yeah, I think the government's using this movie to
Hmm.
do the disclosure for them in a way that is more digestible for people than walking up and having a whole speech on, hey, by the way, aliens exist and on all this stuff. This is a more uh, protected way, if not a very, very good way to ease people into that idea. So when it does happen, and it's going to happen in some degree, I believe, um, it's not as left field. It's a little bit more digestible for people and a little bit more
Hmm.
expected.
Hmm. What the ETs have told me is that they're communicating with individuals, and it's through the individual transformation that the collective will
Yeah.
transform. So I see the movie as touching the individuals and individual transformation, then resulting in a collective transformation. Do you
Right.
trust that the government will eventually come out with the truth? Or they're going to have movies and people and other things talk for them?
I mean, I think eventually they might be forced. I think it's starting to get to the point now where there's so many whistleblowers, there's so much pressure on them that
Yeah.
they're starting to release things. I think they're releasing what they want to release, though. I don't think they're just going to give everything away because obviously there's a lot of national security issues and stuff
Yeah.
like that, which okay, that makes sense. Um, so as much as I would love, for the president to walk up and just kind of like, hey, by the way, there is a sensitivity around it where it could cause a mass psychosis. It could cause all these things because we don't know how people are going to respond. We think, I believe a lot of people are going to be more open to it, but it could also cause a whole another set of issues, and we just really don't know. So I think eventually it's just all the stuff's just going to come out from different sources. I don't know if I don't think the government's going to release everything, but it'd be nice,
I don't believe that either. Hmm.
you know.
Uh, the last trailer for this movie really got my attention because it showed a little girl on a table that looked like in a lab or a spaceship. When I saw that, I was really surprised to see that. I'm like, oh my God, he's going there. He's going there. Because so many have had that, of us have had that kind of experience, then we're still laughed at. And for him to go there, that really got my attention. So I'm
Mm.
going to see it on Friday. And I have the feeling I'm going to be triggered.
Hmm.
Yes, I have the feeling I might cry because I've already been triggered a couple times just watching the trailers.
Yeah.
So obviously, I have some processing to do too. But my triggers are with the grays. Even though the grays have never hurt me and they've changed my life for the better,
Yeah.
I still get triggered by like when there's a big gray face looking right into my face, which is exactly what happened to me. When I see that, I still get a little triggered. Is there anything that triggers you?
I think, and thank you for sharing that. I think it's important to understand that because triggers are reflections on areas that we're ready to heal. They show us things about ourselves that either we're not ready to, or we need to face, or like I said, areas that we might want to heal. For me, I get triggered from criticism, and I get triggered not necessarily from ETs. Like I don't. It's interesting because I don't really get triggered as much. It's more of fear. My fear is losing control of my thoughts. That's my biggest fear. And because when I had that situation with the grays where they were in my head,
Mm-hmm.
that really freaked me out to the point where I was really scared to do any more plant medicines or have any contact for probably a few weeks to a month because I was so scared that someone was going to get in my head and I wouldn't be able to control my own thoughts.
That's
So
interesting. So the grays you felt like were in your head controlling your thoughts, but the lady was not doing that.
no, her was is interesting.
Interesting.
They weren't really controlling my thoughts. They
Okay.
were just it's like their thoughts were, it's like they put their thoughts in my head, if that makes sense.
So
It's like, and the
telepathy.
knowing. Yeah.
Oh, so how is that different from the lady? Because you telepathically communicated with her
With
too.
her, it's not really words as more, it's more emotion. Like
Oh,
her thing is I know what she is saying because of the emotion that I feel. With them, it's like ideas. Like she doesn't put ideas in my head. She puts emotion in my body. So
love.
I'm guided a
It's just
certain
infused
love.
with love.
Right.
Oh,
So
that's
it's a
such an
different, I don't know
interesting
if it's a
way to
different form of
put
telepathy,
it.
or the delivery is a little different. I think with her, it's more gentle. With them, it's more like forced entry. Like I'm putting this thought in your head. We want to abduct you. Versus her, it's like you're supported in this decision if you choose to.
Oh, that's really good. good. I like the way you describe that. So it's not that the grays want to take over your mind and make you do
No.
horrible things and want to control you. It's just that they're not coming from a place of love. It's more like they're coming from some job that they have to do.
Yeah. It was more artificial, and I think too that was the first time I've ever had telepathy happen to me. Like I never knew what that was, and it was so real that I think that's also what kind of freaked me out because I've never had a situation like that bef after that where it was that. I mean, I've had telepathy, but it wasn't that triggering. I think it might have just been the first time. It kind of scared me, and it kind of like is a little maybe more PTSD than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily scared of them because, like I said, I've had them come in and stuff bef
Mm-hmm.
in the past, after that, and it was fine. I think it was just that one experience.
Do you also have supernatural or paranormal experiences?
Um, Not really. I mean, I'll have the odd like things like something in my I'll have like I had a milk frother and I would have it in the drawer or something and it would just turn on in the drawer and then I'd go and turn it off and then I'd put it back. I'd walk, go sit down. It'd turn on again. I'd get up, put in the drawer, not touching anything. I'd take the batteries out, put it down, and it turns on again
Without the batteries.
without the batteries. And I was like,
Why the milk frother? Is that one of your favorite things? You
I
like
mean, I
your
like
coffee?
coffee, but I was like, it was just,
Cappuccinos.
it
Uh-huh.
was, I mean, it was one of those things where I think
Without
they
the
were just kind of like
batteries?
messing with me.
So who do you think that is? Who's
My
messing
dad.
with you?
It was probably my dad. My dad passed away
Your
about 10 years ago,
dad.
and he
Oh.
comes through a lot. I talk to him a lot, and
Mm.
he has a sense of humor, and he comes through in music a lot. Like I'll be listening to music or something, and then I'll start just crying, and I know that I can feel his energy. Like I know his energy.
Oh.
Um, so he'll come through or something like that will happen and he'll take credit for it. And he's just getting my attention. Stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that will happen. I mean, I'm not a medium by any means. He's like the only him and my grandma and my aunt I've connected with um, before. But other than that, no other really, like I don't really talk to other ghosts, just loved ones. Not that I'm aware of, at least. I probably do,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but yeah.
All right. Well, you did it. You came out. How do
I
you
did.
feel?
I feel good. I mean, I
You feel
feel
good?
like it was interesting because I didn't know how to articulate it. Because I've never articulated it to anyone before.
Right.
So it was like, I'm like, how do I word this? Because a lot of it too, and this is just listening to anybody, you're interpreting something that you don't 100% comprehend fully. You know, this is all like pseudo dream state. I mean, people have like contact in daylight and stuff, but like every one of my experiences has been either I'm falling asleep, I'm waking up, I'm on I'm doing some type of altered state of consciousness. I'm in a hemisync meditation from the Monroe Institute. I'm in my own meditation, just meditating on the couch. There's always some state of you're kind of like in between. So you're not getting all the information. You're getting bits and pieces and feelings and intuitions. And even during my regression, I didn't see everything. I saw glimpses. I saw pictures. I saw intuitive knowing. Like for me, my biggest psychic sense is claircognizance. Like I just know things. I have a knowing. I don't see things. I'm not clairvoyant. I'm not clairaudient. I don't see. It's just knowing. I just know what the things are. So it's very hard to articulate to somebody, especially like in my background, like because everything in medicine is so black and white, and this is the way it is. These are what your labs say, but it's more like art almost. I'm trying to describe something abstractly because I don't even understand fully what it is that I experienced. I'm just this is what I believe. This is what I feel. This is what I'm experiencing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Please tell us how people can get a hold of you, your website, where you are.
Yeah, so my website's www.drmichaelnapolitano.com. In the process of getting a new website, so it's kind of makeshift right now, but it's still Best way to probably get to me. You could also, and then to make an appointment, just call the number on the website. I'm fully open and open for anybody who wants to come and see me. Also, social media at Dr. Michael Napolitano on Instagram and TikTok.
Oh, I
Um,
do like your videos. Your videos are good. They're short and to the point. They're cute. Yes.
Yeah, I try to educate people, and it's what I realize, and I'm really weird with like attention and stuff. So like for me, it's a creative outlet because I could
It's
just kind
good.
of make fun videos and help people
You
just kind
have
of
one
like,
with your pretty little dog in it was,
oh
and
yeah,
I also saw one. Oh, I thought this was so good. You said something like, "Why are doctors becoming influ?"
influencers.
And
Yeah.
yes, but why are influencers becoming doctors?
Oh yeah.
That I was like, yes, that is what's happening.
hmm
And that
There's so
must make your
much
work even
information.
harder when someone goes, "Well, I went online and I saw this influencer who said
Oh
this."
no, it's they come into me and they're just like, ChatGPT told me this. I'm like,
Oh,
I'm
what do
like,
you say? You
okay.
have to control, yeah, you have to control yourself from rolling your eyes, I guess.
It's like it's hard because it's the information's there, and I mean I try to get up to date knowledge because it's constantly changing, so it's important to be up to date, but also the problem is people put in their symptoms and stuff and they'll be told something horrible that's completely wrong because it's not in context. So when people go on
Mm,
ChatGPT and ask about medical stuff, it's like it's going to be probably not right, so it's hard, but that's just the way it was at WebMD before that. There's always going to be that. Um,
mm-hmm.
so it's just something to navigate, but I think it's kind of fun.
Yeah, because there's going to be more and more of AI in the medical field.
It's
Yes.
interesting though. I think the more people start to have AI in their life, there's going to be a group of people who want less. They want to be more, they want humans. How many times do you call a help desk and you get an AI bot and all you want to do is talk to a person?
Hmm.
People want human contact. And, we wouldn't be on this planet with billions of people if we were meant to be isolated talking to robots. You know, we were meant to interact with each other, to have
You
human
think this
interaction.
is part of our demise?
Could be. I think that was the demise in Atlantis, which is a whole nother topic,
Mm,
but, you
mm-hmm.
know, I think history might repeat itself, but I think we can be aware, as long as we're aware of it and we use it responsibly, it could be a good thing, but I think it's just important to be mindful of it and not let it think for us. Don't take away your ability to think for yourself because that's what makes you human, what makes you who you are, and don't give your power away.
Okay, one final question. There are contactees who get caught up in not wanting to be here. They say, I belong somewhere else. I'm from somewhere else. I don't want to be here. It's too hard to be here. Do you have any words of wisdom for them?
You chose to be here for a purpose. I think it's easy to see the world that we live in and want to be somewhere else. It's a really scary place, especially for people like us who feel like outcasts. But I promise you, you feel that way because you're special, because you have a purpose that's so much higher than you believe, even if it's to inspire other people to be better versions of themselves. So just remember that you're here for a reason, and or else you wouldn't be here. It wouldn't make sense, you know.
That's very beautiful.
I mean, we all need to
Thank
be
you.
reminded of it, but I
We
think
sure do.
we
Yes,
do. But that's what being
everybody
human
does,
is.
I
We get
think.
caught up in it.
Right. Thank you. This was
Of course.
fantastic. And I am so grateful that you've come out to the world. I know you're going to help many. I'm very appreciative.
Thank
And
you
I
so much
hope
for having
that
me.
anyone who's an experiencer that's listening, I hope that you validated their experiences. I hope you lifted them up a little bit in knowing that they're not alone and there is help out here for them. And I will probably see you around in the UFO world now that you've entered it.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
I'm open to any platforms, any way I can reach more people, help more people.
Great.
I feel I love it. I love it. It's getting bigger, and I think more people are starting to allow themselves to be seen.
Yes, well, because of people like you who are coming out, it's a big deal. So
Yeah,
thank you very much. It's been a
my
pleasure.
pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.